Bank of Nanotechnologies presents BNT Ecosystem, an investment platform. Investments in new technology, especially at an early stage, bring many times higher profit in comparison with traditional assets. Bank of Nanotechnologies has its own portfolio of science-intensive innovations. In 2018, BNT was entrusted to manage a number of patent-free R&D projects in the form of items of intellectual property. Our research and development projects relate to a technology for producing game-changing types of carbon nanomatrices. These nanomatrices will serve as the basis for the production of functional nanomaterials and composites for various fields of application. BNT works to identify high-growth, high-margin startups. Our first priority is supporting startups that will foster social change and deal with the problems of a large number of people. Think of development of technologies and materials for addressing environmental problems, for example, controlling and stabilizing carbon dioxide emissions or disposal of nuclear waste. New generation of bio-nano and nanopharmaceutical products, nano and microelectronics, or new types of energy generators. The investment cost of the core umbrella technology is over €100 million. Implementing the core technology via a startup with an estimated cost of €500,000 will allow BNT to launch at least 10 new startups with a total estimated cost of up to €2 million. The core umbrella technology can not only become a growth driver for the carbon nanomaterials market, but also open up new perspectives of the development of numerous high-tech industries. We know that not every scientific disruption will eventually turn into successful business. Why? Let's look at just a few of the challenges that innovative startups face at the seed stage. Many investors don't have the specific in-house expertise they need to accurately assess the potential of emerging technologies. This makes them unwilling to engage in deep tech investment projects. National rules of the tech investment market may not allow everyone who wants to invest to participate in funding. With the low level of per capita income, many people of the world are too poor to invest. There are few, if any, well-suited software solutions to help potential investors evaluate risks, meaning that better-informed investment decisions need plenty of time and money. Here at BNT, we have the background and economic basis of our own project portfolio to launch a new investment ecosystem. The ecosystem is a set of heterogeneous instruments and mechanisms on a blockchain platform. These instruments and mechanisms are linked into a single system that manages and monitors the fulfillment of investment commitments, in accordance with Liechtenstein law. Legal persons and individuals can join the BNT ecosystem under 4 possible statuses. Investors in startups have access to the profiles of all the startups in the ecosystem, strategically use and take advantage of secured crypto financial instruments, make smart and secure investment decisions by leveraging the ecosystem's proprietary tools and services for risk assessment. Investors in security token have an option to place the assets they have acquired in the trust of the ecosystem. This helps to overcome the high barrier of entry into deep tech investing. Make independent investments in startup projects at any time. Sell their crypto assets in the ecosystem or its participants at a market-dependent rate. Hold their investment token in custody as a defensive asset. Startup initiators have free and unlimited access to the services for evaluating the potential of the commercialization innovation, research and development, or experimental design projects. Operate research and development or experimental design projects in supportive managed environment that drives security and speed to market. The startups whose commercialization potential has been confirmed by the ecosystem get guaranteed support up to the MVP stage. Ecosystem participants have limited access to the details of the ongoing projects, and an option to buy the BNTC utility token and BNTC stablecoin. The ecosystem participant status is best suited for investors who seek high returns but don't want to know much about the science behind the startup projects. This is an optimal option for non-professional investors with no hands-on experience in venture capital projects, or traders dealing in the cryptocurrency market. Each of the 4 possible statuses generates its own financial flows based on the functionality of the ecosystem. Ecosystem functionality. The BNT ecosystem encompasses a set of mechanisms, fintech instruments, utilities, and services for risk management, and a proprietary software solution that helps to evaluate the commercial potential of the R&D projects and maintains dynamic control of how startup parameters are executed. The binding rule of the ecosystem is mezzanine crypto financing for startups. It ensures the safety of innovations and the low barrier of entry into the startup projects. Unlike business angels and venture funds, mezzanine investors are not expected to be actively engaged in business operations of the companies they invest in. Let's take a closer look at the ecosystem's mechanisms. First, there is an advisory board of industry and business experts from various scientific disciplines. Second, an AI software tool for assessing commercial potential at an early stage of technology commercialization. The tool uses custom patterns based on the criteria importance theory. Third, dynamic risk management with regard to the ecosystem protocol for items of intellectual property and for startup projects. Fourth, secure data and business environment for investors and startup initiators. Fifth, sufficient financial resources to fulfill smart obligations to startup initiators and investors. And finally, there is a financial flow controlled by smart contracts for a particular startup. Now, here's an overview of the ecosystem instruments. Services include marketing research, risk management, BNTC trust, assessment of the potential for commercialization of research work in the original AI program, fintech instruments. The ecosystem is driven by the BNTC crypto utility and security tokens. The security token is backed by the value of the items of intellectual property in the amount of 100 million euro. 50% of the issued tokens are placed on hold to create an emergency fund of smart derivatives contracts. The BNTC security token is an asset-backed investment instrument for the ecosystem's innovative technology-based and advanced technology business projects. The security token serves as a share or promissory note and a profit participation certificate. Its backing is based on the estimated investment and market cost of the R&D projects and specific products of every given project. BNTCU. BNTCU utility token is an internal payment instrument for the services provided by the ecosystem. The utility cryptocurrency can be converted into the BNTC crypto stablecoin. Smart derivatives contracts. We understand a smart derivative contract as a digital financial instrument for hedging risks. For example, a smart contract that hedges an event of default. A smart derivative contract transfers the risk of non-performance or improper performance of an obligation. A smart real option is understood as an obligation or right to buy out or sell a base value of the ecosystem assets, including financial assets and evaluated R&D projects if certain conditions occur. In addition, the parameters of a smart real option serve as a data resource for a dynamic reference pattern of the ecosystem's proprietary AI solution. The reference pattern is a benchmark for assessing and controlling the cost of financial flows of the ecosystem and its startup projects. The key parameter of the smart real option is the volatility of the ecosystem assets. Volatility control. The volatility parameters of the ecosystem's underlying intellectual property assets are backed by the real value of the intellectual property assets of its startups. The real value of the IP assets is regulated by the internal mechanism of the controlled release of reserves. This creates a condition for a moderate increase in demand, which drives up the market price of the security token. The monetary policy is specific in the token emission strategy. The strategy defines the volume of issued tokens, limits, periods of issue, the amount of security and utility tokens in free circulation. Apart from setting the initial limit on the token offering, only a part of issued utility and security tokens are offered to the market. This part should be enough to raise a fixed amount of capital to execute the business plan to fixed standards and deadlines. The remaining tokens are stored in an escrow fund to provide the funding for the running and future linked projects of the ecosystem. The tokens for administrative and operating expenses are also released from the escrow account. BNTC Crypto Liquidity Maintenance Mechanism. The economic basis for the operation of the ecosystem's projects is the investment cost of the technologies for the production and processing of carbon nanomaterials. Once the new technology is embraced and new types of products and services are put into commercial operation, there will be a value adjustment of the R&D project's cost. Part of this cost will be reinvested in BNTC crypto liquidity maintenance tools after making payments to investors. The ecosystem will be conducting regular investment and market reevaluation of assets. The ecosystem is entitled to a share in the value of the new products that started out with its support. These new asset types will then be used to keep up the liquidity of the BNTC token. This will be done with the help of the smart real option contracts. BNTC fintech instruments combined with internal risk management policies and token emission strategy regulations will ensure the stability and value of the investment cryptocurrency. Additionally, we expect BNTC crypto to rise in demand as a defensive asset while developing its potential for high returns for investors. Here's a quick list of fintech milestones we aim to hit. Pre-ICO sale of 1 million BNTC utility tokens. Legal qualification of BNTC security as a security token. Offering of 5 million BNTC security tokens. Launch of the first startup projects to a value of 2 million BNTC security tokens. Ecosystem guarantees. The ecosystem is responsible for the issuing of the BNTC tokens. If there is a breach of regulations on token emission and usage, the ecosystem guarantees that the security and utility tokens will be redeemed at the rate fixed to a fiat or cryptocurrency which has been defined by the transaction. The development of knowledge-intensive innovations and technologies supported by capital is not only a precondition for high returns for investors. In the modern civilization, the mutual dependence of the factors of knowledge and money is a fundamental condition for the evolution of mankind.